Hello and welcome to the Nintendunk Power Hour,
Oh yes, is the yes.
your weekly
Welcome.
your weekly podcast ready for all the layups, windmills, and NBA Jam style half court dunks on the decisions of Nintendo and their continued Stegosaurus status in the video game industry. How's it going?
Now I know what you're thinking, Wooly, person who started calling it the Nintendo Donkey Hour. You're thinking how could we have a podcast named after that after we make fun of Atlas being the most Stegosaurus like of companies? To which I say, well, they are going to localize Persona 5 Strikers. So one of the back plates of Atlas's Stegosaurus has fallen away.
Exactly. That the fact that that's happening on the same week as the rest of this is quite telling because yes, we did get the confirmation of the localization of Strikers, which is nice. To be wrong that there was no, there was no news, now there's news, so it's wonderful to hear that. That's great. And it's on Steam. So
That's
we'll give
weird.
it two of the back plates of the Stegosaurus have
That's
fallen off.
crazy.
But the thing about the Atlas Stegosaurus is that it wears a tie and it continues to wear human suits as if it were conducting business. And
It's trying.
it's almost as if it were a Stegosaurus trying to become a human. Whereas I feel like the Nintendo dinosaurs have long shaken off their humanity and are attempting to go full on Triassic, Cretacic, and Jurassic periods because
The
this level of stubbornness this company puts out and their ability to stand unrelenting in the face of common sense astonishes me.
hey, so
Not to mention
if
good taste and tact.
if if the Atlas Stegosaurus is wearing a suit and tie and attempting to assert some form of humanity, I look over at the metaphorical image of the Nintendo Stegosaurus and or Stegosauri, I don't know how many they are now, and I see it sharpening their tail spikes, eyes of frenzy, licking their chops, saying to each other, boy, I sure would like to find some mutagen ooze in order to further stegofy.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of eating at its cud and looking around frantically for predators, hoping that it can get a meal in before procreating, doing what it does.
Now,
Also,
we're using... Yes?
putting out a game console and some games every now and then.
They do that sometimes, on occasion. Now, we're using a lot of dinosaur-based terminology right now, which I like because I like dinosaurs. Hell, I even like the Stegosaurus. I think it's cool.
I like
It's
the image
up
of the
there.
Stegosaurus. It's very particular to the feeling of like oldness.
Yes. Because you look at like a T-Rex and you're like, well, that's just not around anymore.
And yeah, but also we've seen the T-Rex in too many modern situations these days.
Yeah. And you look at like a Triceratops and you're like, that's a bull. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a bull with the nose.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at a Stegosaurus, you go, wow, that's ancient. How could any animal be so ancient and out of touch with the modern world with cars and Xboxes than a Stegosaurus, which I just now realized is actually an even better analogy for Nintendo. Do you remember the fucking article that came out that said that when they brought in that online guy to help them with their online shit with the Wii U, they actually told them stop saying the words Xbox Live and
Right.
PlayStation Network.
They don't
because
know
no
what
one
that
here
is.
knows what those are.
Exactly.
Oh my god,
exactly.
that's the most out of touch shit ever.
What is internet? What is a sign? You ever see that clip of Good Morning America, 1990 fucking 5, maybe 6, and it's really good. And I think it's just, yeah, they're staring at an email address and they're like, but what is internet?
Oh man, that's pretty good.
Violence a at GMA com. And then someone actually says something that really was pretty apt for at the time in that clip. They say one of their off-camera people goes, it's a computer billboard," and it's like, oh shit, yeah, a website is a billboard on your computer advertising a thing, and then people go look at it. That's a really good way of cutting through it. And then they kind of go, and a bunch of schools are connecting to each other through a phone line, and you're like, yeah, okay, that does work, you know. Anyways,
Now, Wooly,
mm-hmm.
you may say, but how could they be so out of touch? You can't be. You could actually say, literally, in a direct quote, which I'm quoting right now, they can't be out. Sorry, it's not out of touch because they're a part of cars and consoles. But I say to you that a whale does not need to be in touch with the automotive industry to be literally oil-based part of your car's automatic transmission fluid until 1973, when it was banned by the Endangered Species Act.
Well,
all it is sustenance for the car.
Okay, that's a long way to go, and I got a little lost along the journey.
You're dealing with big brain, low brain, fast Pat today.
Okay, well, I will take that being lost and say that it's fine, because this lost world is where the dinosaurs roam. And cue your fucking Jurassic Park theme, because Nintendo is basically half of the goddamn docket. And it's insane that when I start adding to this list in preparation for what we're going to go through, it just kept updating. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this company? We were talking about there's been an ongoing theme for many years now of just how fucking slow on the uptake they are, how overall it feels like you're trying to teach your grandma the difference between a right click and a left click, you know, and we're now at a point where they understand what a tournament is and what sponsoring an event is, and they understand what YouTube is to a degree, because they know how to attack people on it. And, you know, there's all these little things that are like, okay, they're aware that when they help and or are nice to people that like and support their products, that this builds a goodwill that is otherwise you can to be in strictly corporate terms, it builds a goodwill that is a currency you can spend in the future.
So a lot of people don't know this, but companies are evil. But on top of that, sometimes companies will do good so that you don't get as mad at them when they're more evil. This was, I think, my most favoritist version of this ever was when Stephanie McMahon, I don't know if you remember this specific instance, Willie, got up at some fucking shareholder meeting and started openly talking about how all the WWE charities are explicitly so that they can rip people off and fuck over the workers and give money to political candidates and just do crimes so that people won't be as mad at them. And so that's the only reason. The only reason WWE does charity.
I seem to recall a story about her doing a speech about building goodwill as a brand.
And everyone in the room is like, are you seriously saying this shit out loud? Now none of it will work, you dumb idiot. Because we all know that you're literally just doing it for brownie points.
But that's besides even the point of this, which is, if you at least extend an olive branch, or at the very least just treat the people who spend money on your company nicely. Like, generally speaking, that will probably pay off in the future, as opposed to making everybody upset and trending on Twitter for your bad decisions.
Usually, when you're dealing with a situation, there's two things that you do. First, you show some people a delicious snack in one hand, and you go, wouldn't you like this delicious snack? And they go, I don't really like that snack. And you go, okay, well, instead of this delicious snack, we can have the gun where we shoot you.
Right.
Would you like your delicious snack again? And people go, okay. However, Nintendo's general modus is to just look at you and think about showing you the snack and then just shooting you. They don't even show you the gun. They just go, bang, kablamzo.
All right. Now, what's important to note, of course, is anyone who gasps or goes, "What the hell are you doing?" when Nintendo produces the firearm gets immediately shot as well on the sidelines. Any spectators have got to go as well. So
the whole room, really, the whole room is tainted. They all have to go.
So here's what is, what you need to understand, I suppose, of the backstory here is that Nintendo came up in the news like 2 weeks ago because of the free Melee situation, the free Melee hashtag,
yes.
more or less.
It was a very awkward situation where they were mailing people COVID syringes and telling them to insert it into their penises if they play Melee. It was very awkward.
Something like that. I believe the way it went down was such that a large Smash tournament was unable to have in-person event because clearly everything is in lockdown. Thus, Fizzy came to the rescue with Slippy, the Melee rollback perfect platform where people can play flawless games. And that was where the Melee event was going to take place. That's how it was going to go down. Nintendo saw that as obviously infringement of their product and stepped in to shut it down.
Using piracy to play Melee. It's like, it's not piracy, actually. I'll kill you.
Well, again, it's not just the usage of the ROM on an emulator, but it's also the modified version of that. And we know that back in the day when there were events that were like, Project M related and things like that, where there's mods of people that like involved them using a real copy of the disc, a real disc and a real GameCube, and putting a memory unit into the GameCube and having that like soft mod the game. So, they're not happy about anything like that. But in this case, emulated game, whatever, as rollback, all that shit. Blah, blah, blah. They shut it down. The tournament organizers go like, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We like we're running this event for a reason. And then Nintendo goes, bah, fuck you. Everyone goes hashtag free Melee because Nintendo, what are you doing? Come on. This was a pretty harmless, reasonable thing to do given the circumstances. They said, no, we don't care. All right, cool.
I was asked about that situation just a few days ago. And the question was, Pat, why does Nintendo hate Smash Bros? And I had a moment, an ignorant, silly moment of momentary compassion in which I said, well, Nintendo never really cared about the state of that community back when it was relevant. And now it's less relevant. And then all that shit happened. So I can definitely understand people over at Nintendo being like, I don't care, fuck it. But they still shouldn't kill tournaments and possibly endanger people's lives because of a
Well,
nonsense view of
thank
piracy.
thankfully the people organizing these events are not stupid enough to go make real in-person events, so the life endangering can continue to be a
What?
hypothetical.
They should have.
Okay, well,
They
now
should have had
and
the
now
melee coughing party,
and
and
now
then
I've made
everyone
the
who died
mistake
gets their ashes
of
sent to
cornering
Shigeru
Pat.
Miyamoto.
I've cornered Pat on his narrative, and I've forced him to dig into the ground and
And he
borrow
has
a
to
new
eat
hole.
He has to eat the ashes.
I've forced a hole to be borrowed because his position in the corner can no longer be held. Listen, what happens is they then go on, right, to create this trend where everybody's like, come on, essentially to Nintendo, and Nintendo's like, we don't budge. Now, we know that for a long time, and whenever there's been...
I have to stop you right there. That description is so... I don't know how... Like, you just said it as an offhand statement, but you so perfectly encapsulated the emotional feeling of everyone looking at these stories, which is, come on.
Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much all people are asking for, because it's like, it's obviously something that they can be dickish about based on what it is and based on what the thing is, but ultimately it's like, look, just come on, that's all people want. So we know that in a lot of cases when you hear a story like this, Japan will look at it. Okay, all right, catch that air. Get that oxygen.
Oh no, it's because the image in my head is like a stegosaurus like slowly eating your legs, and you're just like hands apart, just going, "Come on, man, come on."
You're not even carnivorous.
You're a
herbivore. You're a fucking. Come on. It's just like slow chew, eyes darting about, not even looking at you, and you're what the fuck, and you're holding out some leafy greens, and the fucking thing just won't stop. Totally, dude. So usually when you hear about these stories, you kind of it's become an assumption many a times to go like, well, what's likely happening, or what might be happening, is there is a boardroom of execs in Japan that look at a situation and go, whatever the fuck this is, just stop it and shut it down. No negotiation. We don't care. And then it comes over to America and they go, well, maybe we can. And then Japan goes, fuck off. Nope, don't care. Shut it down. Right? In this case,
in particular with Nintendo, you can even have a situation where like Shigeru Miyamoto is like a noted hard ass and will kill like all sorts of shit.
Yeah. So in this type of instance, we're now looking at a fucking dumpster fire that has consumed the entire neighborhood block, and you're getting it to a point where Doug Bowser should probably be on the phone going, hey guys, actually, this is really bad if you don't budge from your position right now.
Guys, you're making my job really hard. I don't like it.
We've seen Nintendo not budge for years on things, ever. They're fucking stubborn. This is like a perfect storm of like a ton of things happening, and it would be ridiculously dumb for them to just continue down the path of censor it, ignore it, pretend it's not happening. So what we're referring to, though, go ahead.
I was about to say, but Wooly, I mean, we're talking a lot about how Nintendo won't stop eating our legs with their herbivorous dinosaur mouth. But, I mean, shutting down that Melee tournament, I mean, that's not the end of the world, right? Like, what else could they have possibly done in the span of a 7-day period?
Well, it turns out that of all the people that continued to show solidarity with Melee getting shit on in that way, Splatoon 2 had an event going down that was an official tournament that was
that's nice,
scheduled to happen
we're gonna
right around this
Squid Kid Pew Pew Inc.
So the Splatoon community, which has been doing its thing, Um, they basically got together and about 30% of the top teams in the SPL2 North America Open decided that they wanted to support what was happening with Melee by changing a lot of their team names to include Free Melee and or variants of that word. So Melee Nation, Free Melee 211, Free Melee hashtag, Element like Element Free Melee. A lot of names got changed
I mean, I
in the
would
standings.
assume that there is like not just legitimate literal overlap of like some of those people might literally be the same people.
It's
But
possible.
like they are adjacent fan communities.
Yeah.
So of course they are at least somewhat aware and or involved in
They're
the
used to hanging
going
out.
ons of the other
Yes,
one.
exactly. They're used to the same people and the same groups and such. And it's not a stretch to imagine a tournament organizer for a Smash event would also run a Splatoon event. But who knows? But what I'm saying is,
Well, I'm sure Nintendo is very stupid and told them to change their names, right? And everybody's mad that their names got changed.
well, the problem is that the team names are made by the teams who are the players, not the
Right.
event. So it's not up to Nintendo to tell anybody to change anything because
That's true.
the teams can do whatever the fuck they want.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, Nintendoversus, which officially was sponsoring this event, then sees what's happening and decides that what's best for the situation is to cancel the live stream entirely and not run that event
Of an online
of
tournament?
the finals of the online tournament of the finals. Exactly.
So they might as well have just canceled the tournament.
So they basically just went, yeah, nope, that's no good. Can't have that happening. Shut it down. The flavor of pant leg and shoe tastes way better than the grass.
That's much worse than the kind of facetious example I gave before, because I knew that this is what would happen. That is maybe the most definitive, easy to map onto the expression cutting off your nose to spite your face event I've seen in years. Usually when you use that expression, it's kind of like, I mean, they didn't really. It's just, no, they actually damaged and or killed their own event.
Now, the last time a major tournament name caused a disruption, let's say that the incendiary nature of Free Melee is nowhere near the same as Free Hong Kong. Those are two massively different subjects and with massively different gravities associated with. And in this case, just by relative comparison, how fucking petty do you look?
I want to make it very clear before what I'm about to say that I'm in no way defending Blizzard, because I think Blizzard's a bunch of coward shithead companies. But at the very least, when they did that stupid Blitzchung shit with the Free Hong Kong, there was ostensible external pressure from a foreign nation and its market, which you can say that is a terrible decision, but at least it's a decision that has a reason.
That's kind of yeah. No, that's you've worded it. That's what I was trying to get to, is that like there's a political implication that should not be a moral quandary, but some people still treat it as such. That gets introduced. That's an external factor here. It's not just talking about fucking video games and video games.
Blizzard, had they done nothing, might have lost some money. I think that would have been a worthwhile goal and probably smarter long term, but whatever. Nintendo is dealing with their own game and their own community. It's an entirely internal force that they could just make it not be a problem with a snap of the fingers.
And, you know, it's not like the team names came back like 8 == D Channel Lover 42, you know, like
It wasn't like the name was Free Melee hashtag all Hitlers.
you know. Sure. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, why not? Um and it doesn't quite, you know, like, so you have a situation where they're like, it's not even like there's anything in that regard. It's literally just the word free and melee being a part of the name.
To put it in a different context, Blizzard looked at a situation and said, "This is a problem. What are the solutions?" and chose a terrible solution. Nintendo looked at the situation and went, "Is this a problem?" And everyone around them said, "No." And Nintendo said, "No, it is a problem. Let's workshop a terrible solution to not a problem."
But wait, there's more. So they go on to cancel the event, which pretty much obviously leads to everyone within fucking arm's reach and or eyesight of the situation being rightfully horrified and disgusted at how stupid and shitty they're being.
Oh, can you give me a second, Woolie?
Yep, go ahead, do what you got to do.
I need to check on something.
Okay.
Of creepy dog penis is ruining poor Paige's day. We got to get that dog's balls out.
Okay, that's what the exclamation was about. Because
we got to get those balls out.
Okay, well, I believe, yes, what I was saying was that's not all. There's more, and we then move on. We then look at step 3 of the scenario, in which all the players of Splatoon who were then basically booted out for making their statement proceeded to drop out and create a community organized tournament immediately on a fucking lark. And they got more than 7,000 viewers and raised and got over 21K for a prize pot in support of what's going on with Smash on their own.
There's a little golf clap for you folks. That's
without
good.
Nintendo support. So,
yeah,
you know, already you go, all right, well, that says that successful run event by the people who actually, you know, again, buy these games and support them and are, you know, generally willing to support your company if you're not a fucking shit. They just got together and said, fuck it, we'll do it ourselves. So that goes down. Meanwhile,
Meanwhile,
not content with chewing the pants leg of the community in front of them, that spiky tail behind it is not doing enough damage. It's time to start swinging it around. And where are we gonna land? Oh, I don't know. Let's say we blow up Joy-Con boys. So
I like to think that that's not actually the series of thoughts. I would like to think that what they said is, I feel really big penis right now after canceling that's Splatoon event. Is there any way that we can directly damage the health of young people?
I see what you're doing here. Okay.
Is that like
right,
the COVID vaccine we sent to the Melee players?
We take
that felt good. But is it possible
so
we could damage the mental health of the youth?
Got it. I see
directly.
I see exactly how your paradigm shift works here. You take the exact same level, and you just swap the ingredients out. Gotcha. Okay. Right. All right. Well, here we go. Now, this is a story that I read about, and as I open my mouth to say more about it, very many people are saying, "Hold on a second, this might not be what it appears to be." So let me say what I was told the story is, and then we can update after the fact whether there are new details.
So what we can do is we can say that we're reading the story off of Polygon.com, and that if we get anything wrong, that you should just blame Polygon.
Well, I mean, I was actually reading it. I grabbed it for it's Eurogamer, but
I mean, I just typed it in, and that was the first one. Yeah, I'll go to the Eurogamer one. Why not?
Okay. Well, what I saw initially was a tweet from an account basically saying. Yes, it's a post on the Etika Reddit network. Etika, who had the YouTuber the live streamer who unfortunately passed away not too long ago. Joy-Con Boys is the slogan. That thing that's been around and has taken on quite some life, especially among the fan base. And my understanding is that on the Etika Reddit network, there were Eticons, which are essentially Joy-Con skins that were created in memory of Etika and that were for charity fundraising purposes. So
yeah, the profits, or at least some of the profits, would go to a mental health foundation known as the JED Foundation.
Exactly. Charity for teens and young adults in the U.S.
I think they're just shells. I think
they are shells. Exactly, they're just shells. And apparently, the initiative had raised over $10,000 for charity. This is the story as it goes. So with that sounds overall like a way to turn an incredibly tragic thing into a very slight positive. And, it sounds like a very noble and admirable endeavor. So
and it makes sense. Etika was unfortunately the victim of suicide as an end result of a long history of mental health issues. And so it makes sense to do a charity thing that would help other young people with mental health issues, right? Like that seems like a A to B. Okay. And he was a big Nintendo fan, so there's the C, right? So this seems like a win-win for Nintendo to get in on this and to contact the family, and et cetera, et cetera.
Nah, shut it down. They're using the word Joy-Con. That's a copyrighted trademark. Stop it.
Oh. All right.
So, This is what the story, as reported, was, and piecing this all together alongside the story about Splatoon, alongside the story about Melee, to me, all I could think of was the ever brilliant Miles Edgeworth line, "You're not a clown, you're the entire circus."
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So now then, what is it that people are live concerned about when it comes to this story that is possibly not the truth or possibly misleading? This is what we need to find out. A little hard to do when we're running it live, but
I'm seeing some folks basically argue about the ratio of the gentleman's donations to charity versus a profit margin, stuff like that.
I'm seeing someone mentioning that the story apparently is that Nintendo requested that the words Joy-Con be removed and that they can still sell them as long as the word Joy-Con is removed because it's trademarked, and that the rest of the story is an exaggeration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
To this, I say to you, now that might be true, but do you know what else might be true? That the board of directors at Nintendo is looking at a copy of the DSM-5 and they are jerking off onto it and going, trademarks.
Okay. So, and with that, a couple others chiming in about this possibly being just something in the wake of the current Nintendo hate wave, kind of latching onto it and trying to take it in another direction, which you don't got to do that. Let them do it themselves. That's not necessary. If the story is in fact not what it appears to be, or at least not according to the way this was written. So, all right. Nice little controls Z on that one then. If it's in fact not what's going on. Never mind that.
Hey guys, hold on. I'm on Twitter right now. There's a new announcement. Nintendo has just announced that if you own a Switch console, they will take your firstborn.
Okay. So yeah, if these are shells and if it's just a matter of removing the word Joy-Con from the situation, then that's not that bad. Apparently this was a C&D from months ago. Okay. And if this is in fact, raising money for a good cause, then that all makes perfect sense and checks out. So that seems fine. So yeah, whatever's not true about this story then, well, fuck that.
I legitimately, okay, so I'm an adult now, ostensibly, and I have not understood fanboyism for many, many long time years. Woolie, I think you remember that guy we knew in college who was just all about that PlayStation. He was crazed about that PlayStation. And that was silly.
I don't remember you being a console warrior. I fought and grew up with people like that. I don't remember you being that. I remember you you had an irrational hatred for the Dreamcast, which you still do, but that's the only one.
Right? But there are those people out there. And it has become increasingly bizarre. Not the people that love Nintendo games, because they're a specific type of series of genres and they're really good. But those who are like, man, I love Nintendo. That has become a weirder and weirder point of view over time, over many years. Because they are about as out of touch and bad mean to you as any video game company could possibly be.
Yeah. But I guess the sentiment depends on how up to date you are with what's going on. For example, if you haven't been following the news to know about a lot of this stuff, and you're saying it the way, for example, my brother would have remarked, like, "Oh yeah, I love Nintendo because we grew up with tons of great
Yeah.
games playing on old consoles," then that statement remains intact. So you got to remember you're talking to people who are following the news and are aware of current events and aware of the goofiness of Nintendo's online even being a problem, as opposed to those that might not necessarily. So it depends on who you're talking about when it comes to saying that. Because, you know, as someone whose job it is to follow current events, there have been there have been more blunders than victories in the recent years of Nintendo. And overall, that has turned my positivity into a sort of like, well, I will accept, I'll pick and choose, you know? I feel like I used to feel a lot more positively about the company two
You know what?
generations ago, 3 generations ago. And nowadays I kind of am just like, well, I like what I like specifically about it. But yeah, the overall, like, yeah, they do generally pretty good stuff is certainly a
You
little
know what
bit.
I love? I
Mhm.
just realized we have all of these, and this is like mid-December, so the news is gonna stop like in a couple weeks. Like there's gonna be nothing going on because nothing's going on. But in January, maybe February, I'm not sure on the exact date, we're gonna get to talk about Nintendo again because that's when part 2 of an earlier Nintendo story will come back up, which is, hey, fuck you, you're not allowed to buy Mario Sunshine anymore.
Right. Hmm. Hmm. And the other artificial rarities.
Right? Underneath all of this and all this trademark shit is Nintendo's the only company that I can think of that has not just defended their trademarks aggressively, but has introduced the concept of like a digital shelf life to decade-old
The
games.
vault. Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what? You know what this is gearing up for? They got to kill all this Melee online shit so that when the next Smash Brothers comes out in 6 years, you can get rollback Melee as a pre-order bonus and only a pre-order bonus.
I don't even think they'll Modern Warfare it. I thought about that for a while, and I really don't believe that. I mean, this might blow up in the future because you're betting against Infinity, and making hard predictions about things never happening is just a losing game. But it seems unlikely based on the way they think about games these days, because Smash is, there's no like Melee existing alongside the new Smash. The new Smash is meant to crush and destroy every copy of Melee. If they could have those physical discs evaporate, they would.
If they could literally go to your house and smash your disc with a hammer, they totally would.
Like, whatever the anniversary that comes up for Smash Brothers is, their anniversary celebration will be, here's the new game. Now go and delete your old one. In fact, installing this requires you to have deleted it.
Oh my god, somebody actually pointed out in the chat, wait, Nintendo did invent pre-order exclusive games with the GameCube version of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask for Wind Waker. That literally already happened.
The Master Quest.
They literally already did that.
Yeah. So yeah, the Modern Warfare playbook. Yeah. Again, it's just like, if Nintendo, if they were not so angry about there being a second Smash Brothers in existence alongside the new one, then maybe. But I feel like they're just like, nah, the new baby is all that matters. Murder the old child.
More than anything, I'm really upset at Nintendo because I've been having to defend Melee a lot lately. And that's not as fun as the other thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And
Clearly.
I don't like it.
Clearly.
I
can see
just
that.
want to like grab a fucking like meme template and slap the phrase "Melee players are pedophiles" on it, and no effort meme it to 1,000,000 upvotes.
Yeah,
But I can't do that right now.
No,
because
yeah,
that community is being hard fucked by their parent company.
I can see that you melt a little bit every time you have to step up to the bat for the community, that exists, that are basically just fucking, getting handled in this way. I can see that, but yeah, pat yourself on the back, I suppose, because you will continue to report on the story while taking your jabs everywhere that you can take them. So, those shots are not going unchecked. I mean, you just took one. Don't worry, you're getting it done.
It makes me sad. It makes me sad.
What a hero.
It's tough to be this heroic. It's
standing on the line, calling out what needs calling out, and also turning around every once in a while to remind the people that you're defending that they're pieces of shit too.
You guys smell. Stay farther back away, please.
Or facing forward with your shield as you Reinhardt forward, but your ass is out shitting really hard spray back at the team that you're defending. How about that?
If I could get every Melee player to promise Nintendo that they will take a big shower, do you think that this will end? Do you think that that is the crux of the situation? Can we get somebody who can talk to a human being at Nintendo to confirm that all of this behavior is because stinky Melee?
Get behind me, says Pat with the shield up. Moving the payload.
I just...
Well, anyway. Yeah, that's a pretty shit week for now two Nintendo game communities. Let's see how this keeps going. Let's see if they'll, I don't know, just find a way to triple down. Who's not up to anything? ARMS? Is the ARMS community currently involved in any controversy?
I no offense to, I mean, I don't particularly like ARMS, but no offense to the ARMS community, but I never got the feeling that was like large like the Smash or
no, but I'm just saying, while you're taking shots, the ARMS community and Pokken Tournament need to be dragged to the bottom of the ocean while we're at it. Let's find ways. Let's do it. Yeah. And I know you're thinking, what community? But I'll have you know that when I did the ARMS for Glory episode, they fucking came out. They popped out of the sewers and the hidey holes, and they let me know, yo, this game is for real, there's tech though, and sent me a ton of material, and we went over it, and it was kind of nuts. They showed up.
I'm going to imagine that there's there's a good amount of people that listen to this podcast, and I would imagine a certain percentage of those people have a decent sense of humor and understand that, for example, I'm joshing them and don't take it too personally. And like Melee or like ARMS or like Splatoon, there's probably, a couple people that are in those communities listening to this right now. And I cannot possibly imagine the emotional baggage state, I don't know what to call it, of being like way in a Splatoon or way into Melee or whatever, and talking to your friend and they're like, hey, I was thinking about getting into it, and thinking about, should I tell them to just not and pick something else that will not have all of this nonsense associated with it? Right? Can I not just tell them to play Shrek Super Slam, because at least DreamWorks isn't like DMCA takedowning fucking Shrek tournaments?
Personally, I think telling people to not be part of a community of a game that you don't play is a shit move. if the person enjoys it for whatever reason, if they're into that thing, then let them be into that thing. You know?
No. I mean, hey, I was thinking about getting into Melee. Should I? It has to come with the caveat of you, the old hat Melee player, not you, but the royal, going, oh, it's a great game and it's really fulfilling, but
Oh yeah, okay, sure.
right,
but you know,
then you have to explain all this stupid shit.
yeah, but it all sort of depends, right? Because here's the thing, like I mean, I say this as somebody who fucking has a show called Get Into Fighting Games, and we go over it. Like, I get messages from people who are just like, hey, I'm playing some games, picked up Street Fighter 5, checking it out, having some fun with it. What's up, right? Well, what do you think? Or like, what should I do, or what's next, or whatever the case is. And this is one of those things where it's like, okay, this is someone who is potentially just going to enjoy this completely separate from all of this community close to it shit that's going down. If you're not, you can definitely have a fun time playing the video game, and if there's decent net play, playing online with people, or so, just ignoring this shit. And if you go further into it, then you do find out about it. I think you have to kind of gauge whether the person is looking for that or not. If you're someone who's in this community, if the person is looking at something as if like they want to go in all the way and kind of like really, find a way to like hang out, make friends, play a lot, and put their time into a thing, then like, yeah, you do them a disservice by not bringing any of that up. But like what I'm saying, like, there's times when I'm talking to the wrong person about like the problems with Street Fighter or Samurai Showdown, for example, where I got a friend of mine who is like super, like, not even a gamer in any kind. Like, he picked up like one or two consoles over the last 10, 15, and just jumps in and whatever, and he's like, hey man, I heard good things about Samurai Showdown, what do you think, or whatever. And I kind of was just like, yeah, like, that if that's what caught your eye, seems pretty cool. You'll probably have fun with it. Playing online sometimes can be a problem, but in the end, I'm not going to offload all this baggage that he doesn't give a fuck about to him,
I don't know. I feel like it's like, because the reason I say Smash in particular is because so much of the Smash community now, because the game's ancient, and getting into that community kind of ostensibly implies being involved with these events to some degree, that you're probably going to run into this stupid shit. Like, if you got into Melee right now, right?
Certainly. I mean, Melee right now is Slippy. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other... That's what that is, Like, some games have other ways, or other community, or some games have enough going on that you can't ignore what's happening. But in this case, it's like, no, it's just Slippy. You definitely have no choice, So yeah,
like,
it depends on the person, depends on the game. That's
this
that's
weird
the reality.
Feeling of like, say I'm a big Smash Brothers fan. I'm in this scenario, and you are getting into Melee right now. And I have to look at you, and I would feel immoral of me to not look you directly in the eye and say, Woolie, this is a cool game. There's a lot of cool stuff happening. I just need to warn you that there is a 1 in 20 chance every day of the rest of your life that Shigeru Miyamoto and Eiji Aonuma are going to ring your doorbell, and when you answer the door, they're going to throw a bucket of AIDS into your face.
Diglett dig.
And then they're going to laugh at you, and then they'll both jump up and high-five the ghost of Gunpei Yokoi.
Doug Trio.
And then not release a Metroid game.
Doug Trio. Doug. Now, realistically, of course, someone who is getting into Smash Brothers starting at a outsider's casual level is probably just going to go play Smash Ultimate.
Yeah, probably.
There's not much reason to assume they're going to wind up through the fucking, maze that leads them to Melee. They'll probably just go grab the latest Smash on the eShop. and buy it
That's
and
probably
play that.
way more likely. That's much more likely.
So if people are trying to get specifically into Melee, it's for a particular reason that that person is aware of / a flavor they're looking for, and they can't be completely in the dark at that point.
They were in the Home Depot, and they were going to the Home Depot to get box cutters because you want a box cutter. It's a good thing to have. And then they passed by the shower section where they have all the faucets, and they became very uncomfortable. And a gentleman nearby saw that they were uncomfortable and said, "Hey man, have you ever heard of Smash Brothers?" And they went, "Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Ultimate." And they said, let me tell you about this shit. Stinky.
Well, fuck that guy. But anyway, yeah.
And you standing there were enthralled by this man's stank, going, "This is the kind of community I can get into." Smelly.
Yeah, like at what point do you run out of things to say? And do you just start getting to the bullet point? You're the bird on stage flipping through your fucking cue cards right now.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? What's on the next cue card?
My brain just wanted to keep going, but it had nothing left, so I just ended up just blurting out stinky.
Boo, get more material, stinky. Uh-oh, all the cards say stinky. All right. Got it. Yeah, so this is you know, every community, every community's fucking taking hits left and right, but like this is one of those ones where you're like, man, you couldn't even throw them a bone. You couldn't even fucking give them, you know, the least of a decent fucking thing here. And in the end, what was going to happen, right? Here's the thing to think about. What would have happened was the Splatoon tournament would have had a bunch of free Melee things, and that would have been a little bit of an embarrassing but oh well moment as people go, ha, look at that. Yeah, cool, the Splatoon players know what the deal is. Anyone who doesn't know can, I guess, go look it up. But for the most part, then the night ends and none of us are talking about Splatoon today on Monday. You know what I mean? Like, that's all that would have happened. But instead, no, you do this, you Streisand affect it, and now you're trending, and now everyone is like, holy shit, fuck you guys. Like, you're getting ridiculous over nothing. You know? So yeah, just flush all that goodwill out. And keep it up, guys, you know? Push people that otherwise didn't have opinions about this or otherwise didn't care to kind of be like, well, fuck you, Nintendo. Splatoon had no reason to hate Nintendo or have issues with them, really. You know, Splatoon was just doing its thing as far... Well, you know what? I can't say for sure because I'm not paying attention to the Splatoon community. But, you know, in my head it was like, oh yeah, they'd have the Splatfests and all this cool art of, you know, everything related to that. And then... whatever, but now it's like, uh-oh, no, now there's a reason for Splatoon to have beef with Nintendo where there was none, you know? All right.
Wait, hold on, look at this.
Yep. I'm fully expecting to be sent a picture of just stink lines on their own.
No, shut up.
Oh, yeah, look, hey, look at... Oh, wow! 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 Would you look at that? It's literally exactly what I just said it would be. It is 1000% exactly the thing that I said it would be. Look at that. Huh.
No, shut up.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway. He just tweeted out a picture of Smash with the stink lines on it, and it's just, oh, yeah, okay. Right.
It says, ew, stinky on it.
Never stop subverting expectations.